Well, it's about that time. After 6 long years, and exactly 6 years, Eden Zero has finally reached its end. The final chapter of Eden Zero has just dropped, and I have many thoughts about this. But I honestly am glad that I have been part of this series and following it for the last few years, as this is probably one of my favorite manga of all time, and despite my own criticisms of it, I do think it's a very special series that a lot of people should give a shot. Also, just because the chapter reviews are now finally finished, that doesn't mean Eden Zero is going to be gone for good from the channel. I'll probably do some Eden Zero explained videos again at some point. I do plan to reread the final arc and do a full video on my own full thoughts of the series after one complete read through to see if my opinions have changed at all, and then I'll do a full reread of Eden Zero to give a full-on review of the entire series, but that one I'm not sure how long that will be, so prepare for a potential hour to 2 hour long video if I ever get to that point in my life. Though I do plan to make just a singular relatively small video about how much I enjoy Eden Zero and why it means so much to me. But yeah, I still got plans for Eden Zero in the future, even though the series has finally reached its conclusion. But before we jump into this final chapter and have this amazing journey end, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the conclusion of Eden Zero. And what a way to start off the final chapter of Eden Zero than to start things off with our favorite narrator, Xiao Mei, as she enters the frame same way as in the first chapter. As she states, after spanning several cosmoses and timelines, the adventure comes to its close. Thank you everyone for joining us and for staying with us till the end. Now I present the final chapter of this tale, as we enter a full 2-page color spread for the final chapter of Eden Zero, titled Friends, Chapter 293. As literally every major character of the Eden Zero crew is here, and it just feels so nostalgic and hard to say goodbye to a cast that I've honestly really grown to love and enjoy. But we start things off on the planet Granbell, an unknown amount of time later, I presume a couple of years, as we see Michael calling out to Shiki, telling him something's happening, as Shiki is working on some sort of machine, telling Michael to give him a minute, as he washes his hands and pats Pino on the head, as after Pino essentially stopped functioning, it seems Shiki has left her somewhere in his workshop so he can constantly make sure that she's in tip-top shape, and honestly I just find it relatively sweet. But in the town of Granbell, Ziggy is calling out to Shiki to get a move on, as the rest of the boss in town are like, seriously, come on, hurry up, this is a big day. And as Shiki is running, he realizes he forgot to put on his shoes, as Castellan is like, he's such a scatterbrained child. While Ziggy is stating, seriously, I have no idea who he got this from, as Ziggy looks over realizing he forgot to grab his right hand. So, a nice little nod that they're basically the same person to an extent, and I do find it kind of nice that Ziggy is still like on Granbell now, just living with everybody and bringing things back to how it was from the start of the series. We then get to see the Eden Zero once more as Shiki is just standing on the outside of it. As he's stating now, he's getting pretty nervous, with Sister and Witch coming in, as Sister states, why would you be nervous? You're not doing anything. As Witch greets Shiki, but Shiki smiles nervously, says, come on, you can stop calling me Great Demon King now. As Happy is very anxious and nervous as him and Shiki begin to run around in circles, panicking, as Sister tells him to shut the hell up. Witch calls out to Shiki, stating that he's going to be a father, as Rebecca right now is giving birth and is in labor. We then cut to planet Norma as Sibber runs down the stairs into Hermit and Wise's workshop, surprising both of them. Honestly, I just find this kind of a nice way of Machima stating that Hermit and Wise are most definitely together 100% at this point. They're literally living in the same house and inventing shit together, and it's honestly really nice. Also, not a fan of Wise's new haircut. Definitely the worst haircut ever. I would have preferred it if he just went back to his chapter 1 haircut if he was going to change it to any other hairstyle whatsoever. It's definitely not that great. Hermit's great. But Sibber says that they gotta get a move on. Shiki and Rebecca are having their kid today. But Wise and Hermit are just telling him to chill out, and that they'll be right over to Granbell relatively quickly, as they say that they've been working on a brand new ship and that they shouldn't sell their work short like that. We then cut to Planet Oedo, as Homura and Valkyrie are saying goodbye to Kurenai and Kurenai's crew, as they're about to head to Granbell to go also see the birth of Shiki and Rebecca's child. We then cut back to Planet Granbell as Laguna, Jin, Clean, Labilia, and Couchbow all reunite in front of the Eden Zero for the day of Shiki and Rebecca's child being born. Now I'm going to say this, Laguna's style, like it. I feel like Laguna has a consistent sense of a more realized style than the rest of the crew. Jin, exactly the same. Clean, obviously older, longer hair. Labilia, Couchbow, relatively the same, as they all greet each other, stating that it's been a while since they've seen each other. And Labilia is stating if Rebecca's doing okay, with Shiki being outside the operating room as Sister and the Witch are helping Rebecca give birth. And as it happens, the sun shines over Granbell as a huge light envelops everybody. But then we cut to Mother in a glorious 2-page spread with Pino in the presence of Mother, as Pino's wondering what's going on as she's being welcomed by Mother. Pino's wondering what happened. She stopped functioning. She died. The Mother states that right now she's in the planet's memory, a world of all time, of life and death, as she states that she and her friends have saved Mother's life and that she's back to her true form as planet Earth. Pino tries to say that she didn't do anything, but Mother says now it's my turn to save you, catching Pino's eye, saying that anyone who reaches Mother will be born again. Shocking Pino as Mother says, "Brave child, you gave Shiki the support he needed to make it this far. I grant you life." As tears are beginning to flow seemingly from Pino's face, as Mother states that Shiki is about to have a child, a human girl. You will be born as that child, you will live life as a human. As Pino is beginning to realize that she's about to get her wish to be reborn as a human, as she begins to cry with light enveloping her. We then cut back to the Eden Zero with everybody cheering that Shiki and Rebecca have had their child, and that it's a baby girl. And as Shiki and Rebecca are very happy that they had their kid, they literally in unison state that they're going to name their kid Pino. But as they say this, someone walks in from the corner telling them to hold on for a minute, as Pino is back stating, "I refuse to let you use my name without my permission." As everyone is incredibly shocked that Pino is now alive and well, with Shiki stumbling up with tears in his eyes, greeting Pino once more, as everybody runs up with tears in their eyes to hug Pino, as Pino has finally come home. We then jump back to when Pino was talking to Mother, as it's revealed that Pino asked to be brought back as the android that she was, as she states that Shiki's child is his child, and she went on all those adventures in the form that she has now. That is who she is. And in the final 2-page spread of the chapter, Pino states that it doesn't matter if you're a human or a machine, not to my master. As we get a full, beautiful 2-page spread showcasing the entire universe, with the final page of Eden Zero showcasing the titular Eden Zero with rays of light shining down upon it, stating, "Or to any of my friends on the Eden Zero," as the final chapter of the series comes to a close. Well, I have a lot of thoughts on this final chapter, but first off, I'm happy we got a happy ending. We did get a happy ending with Pino's death despite that, but having her be brought back as a human was definitely something we all kind of expected, and from last chapter we assumed she was brought back as the little sister of the Rebecca of Earth. But it seems that it was probably a potential timeline, or just Pino having one last dream before she passed away. But now Mother, essentially giving her a wish to be human, just brought her back as an android, as that is who she is, and she's accepted that that is who she is, and that she should live the rest of her life as that. And it doesn't matter what she is, especially considering that she was with all of her friends and family right on the Eden Zero. And this is a very heartwarming and touching reunion, as I did not want Pino to die. I know it would have been a really big loss and a consequence for the story, for everything that's happened in this final arc, but with how Universe Zero was stated to be more of a happy ending setup, I am alright with it. My main issues with this chapter are a few. One, apparently this was supposed to be 46 pages, but for whatever reason it was only 30. That's barely half an extra chapter. So I don't know if Majima was unable to get more pages drawn up for this chapter, and editors told him to cut it short, or perhaps it was some sort of mistranslation and we're 15 to 16 pages short. But this chapter definitely needed to be longer to showcase a bit more of what everybody was doing in this final section of the story, how much time exactly had passed so we can all see their full lives, who potentially they ended up with, all that, and their careers, etc., because it's heavily stated in this chapter that they all went their separate ways. Also, it would have been nice to see an actual image of Shiki and Rebecca's daughter, because despite this entire chapter building up to the birth of the child and with the subversion of expectations that it's not going to be the reincarnation of Pino like we all thought, her being brought back does kind of undermine this big moment, with another big moment stealing the spotlight, and thus we don't get the drawing of Shiki and Rebecca's child whatsoever. Now, the art in this final chapter is still top tier, very good, especially the images of Mother and the universe, and the final page of the Eden Zero gave me huge nostalgia vibes. But I do think either keep Pino dead, or if you're going to revive her in this way, which does make sense, it fits with the themes of Eden Zero as a whole, with it doesn't matter who you are, human or machine, you're alive, you're all friends, your family, etc. Have us wait a little bit in between all this so that we can actually see Shiki and Rebecca's kid. Now, obviously Majima could do like a one-shot somewhere down the line in the future where the kid is growing up. Who knows? Eden Zero, while not as popular, might get a sequel, might get a spin-off, or a prequel. I would love a prequel about Xenolith. But yeah, this chapter definitely felt like a very rushed final chapter. If it did have those 46 pages, it would not feel as rushed. And I do feel like Pino coming back did kind of undermine the whole build-up of Shiki and Rebecca's child and the loss of Pino literally the chapter prior. But at the end, I'm fine with it because I do like Pino, and I like that the whole crew, the whole family is together at the end, all happy and healthy, and living out their lives. Because I have grown attached to these characters, and I would really hate to see any of them truly go. But it's how some stories go, and I can understand why people wouldn't like it. I myself, still not the biggest fan of bringing Pino back a chapter later, but it's the end of the story, and it is what it is. Universe Zero has definitely been the most controversial arc of the entire series of Eden Zero. A lot of people bashing on it for no reason, some people having actual valid criticisms of this arc, but a good majority of it is just the fights for a lot of it were really short. Void was not lived up to the expectations that we all thought he would be. I did like how he went out against Ziggy. I feel like that was nice, especially since we got the Chronophage reveal. Some things did need a few more chapters to really flesh some stuff out. But I think we can all agree that the actual story being told in Eden Zero and even the final arc was actually really well done, especially considering that it tied together stuff from the very beginning of the series in a neat little bow, having the series come full circle, solving mysteries that were long-standing for the entirety of Eden Zero, and having satisfying conclusions for these answers. Obviously not without its drawbacks, but once I go do a reread of the final arc, I will give my full thoughts on my criticisms, my praises, and my mixed opinions on this final arc. It was not the greatest thing in the world, and I do have my problems, but I don't think it's as bad as people are presenting it to be. It's a decent arc, and it's not terrible, though I do think it could have been longer, and it could have dealt with a bit more consequence with what's essentially the final arc of the series, but it is what it is, and I'm okay with it. And I am glad that I managed to come back and talk about these last batch of chapters, as this series I truly do love has made its conclusion, and I know it's touched a lot of people, it's been there for many others, and despite anyone's criticisms, we can all agree that Eden Zero is something special, and it was definitely one of the best manga in the last couple of years. It's definitely one of my personal favorite new-gen shonen manga, and one of my personal favorite manga of all time. I love the cast, I love the characters, I love the overall story, and no amount of a rushed ending or something that just feels not super amazing can really put a damper on it. With how I've followed this series weekly for the last 3.5 years, I truly do love this series, and This is a biased rating if I had to give it one, but I still consider Eden Zero a 9 out of 10 manga, a great series. I would always recommend it to anybody that would want to give something a shot, especially a sci-fi battle shonen, or just have a good time reading it. But obviously a reread could change my mind, or it could make me think the series is a 10 out of 10 for all the hell I know. But either way, look forward to the final arc review once I reread that section, and for the inevitable massive video I have planned on Eden Zero, talking about the entirety of the series at some point, where my opinions could most likely change or be strengthened. But that's all for me. What did you guys think of this final chapter? What do you think of Eden Zero as a whole? Your thoughts, your opinions, what you liked, what you disliked, who was your favorite character, what was your favorite arc, your favorite fight, favorite ether gear? Let me know all that stuff in the comments section down below. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, showcases you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel, and shows you want to see more. Obviously, I have a lot more Mashima content on here. I got Dead Rock monthly reviews, I got bi-weekly Fairy Tail reviews, as well as bi-weekly Fairy Tail discussion, theory, and explanation videos. So Mashima content on this channel is just still in full force. It's just Eden Zero's main content is gone, but I will bring more stuff for it back in the future. And if you're a fan of 7 Deadly Sins or Four Nights the Apocalypse, I do weekly reviews of that series as well. And also, one last announcement, I will try and do weekly content for Gachi Akuta now that Eden Zero is done, because now I have a spot open to review another new series. Whether or not I'm able to be consistent with that, and be as consistent with that as I am with Eden Zero, it's still unclear. But that's really all I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this final chapter and this final review, and I'm really grateful for you guys for checking out these Eden Zero videos with me up until the end. And with all that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.